privacy issues in a business-to-business model. How do you encourage businesses to share data to plan and predict for future events? And that's touching on some of these regulatory aspects, but much broader as well.
I can share the concept of co-opetition, which was brought up at several conferences where this question came up. And I think it's really three-pronged. One is, if we don't collaborate in this space and build a blockchain ecosystem, and particularly what we're talking now, a digital governance blockchain ecosystem, it's never going to work long term. So if we want to have a sustainable model, I think that's one thing that I've tried to convey to businesses. If you don't share, we'll never have an ecosystem that's sustainable long term. The second one is the power of denominators, right? The more we share, and like David always mentions as well for genomics and precision medicine, it's the same concept. More power of data, and valid data, of course, and appropriately used data, we can all benefit from having better results. Doesn't matter if it's a product or insights or whatever else we choose to focus on. And the third one is really that at one point, people will still have to collaborate and join. We've seen that in every industry, that at one point you have mergers and acquisitions, because it's just impossible to have too many players in the field that are all excellent, right?
There are already some entities that facilitate surveillance that are not specifically healthcare organizations. For example, retail outlets that sell over-the-counter cold medications. We make use of data related to that to help us map and get an understanding of whether or not something is happening that could be the early signs of an outbreak, or is it just a seasonal scenario with either influenza or something like allergies, for example. And so we have access to that information. And I think that I don't know that those entities are considered covered, but there's certainly entities that we've used in public health for surveillance that arguably would like to get access to a broader set of similar data around other purchases that might allow us to understand other things that either could be coming or are already here on the chronic disease side. The problem there is, though, there's something that's already been spoken to, I think, on this call, which is the appropriateness of the use of that data and whether or not it's going to be used for something other than the intended purpose that we might think of, or the public health system might think of. So figuring out how to be able to empower public health to be able to gain access to other information besides that which I already mentioned could be quite useful. I don't think public health has quite figured out how to make the case for getting access to that info.